tonight is the FBI investigating QAnon, plus Comedy Central features QAnon on one of its most popular shows. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. This is an amazing evening tonight. I feel charged. I feel alive. I feel just thrilled to be able to be here with you guys and bring you this information. It's incredible. The Q dumps are insane, and you'll see tonight in the episode about all types of things. But first, I want to thank each and every one of my subscribers. If you haven't yet, come here to this landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, you'll be informed as soon as these videos get posted, because as I always say, as soon as these posts go up, I inform you guys. So, this is crazy to me. But we're going to start at the beginning, okay? The FBI, this is a Q post, so let's listen to what Q has to say here. The FBI opened a case on Q today, re-boom statements, and now the Texas bombings. Coordinated to end comms here. Predictable. They are scared. 4 a.m., they will fail. We know the details. Wednesday, Q. Okay, so much to cover here, and I'm going to try to keep it short, but no promises. Okay, so the QAnon stuff. We're looking at it and we're saying, okay, what does all this mean? Well, basically, it's kind of, if you watch my last video, I kind of went over this, what I had a lot of people in the comments were sharing their thoughts, and we spitballed this idea kind of, and then I kind of just tuned it up to what I thought it was really referring to, which is the fact that they were using these bombs as a distraction. But now I realize, thanks to Q, that it's not just a distraction, all right? This is the move to take down QAnon. All right, and I said it here first. This is the move to take down QAnon. Okay, and how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to try to connect, in my opinion, please help me out in the comments. Let me know what you think, but this is kind of me spitballing it here. They're taking this, what's happening here with the bombings, and maybe the person who's going to be connected with this is obsessed with Q. And we're going to get into Comedy Central, featuring it on their show, their conspiratorial show. I can't think of the name of it. It's an awful show. I never even have watched an episode, but it's basically based off of Alex Jones. Kind of, there you go. I mean, guys, you think I'm off base here, but some of you don't even know the truth here, and I'm trying to help everybody figure it out. So think of it this way. You have the FBI opening a case on Q. Now, tonight, in the episode of the Alex Jones fake channel show, where they just basically imitate his whole setup and everything that he does, and then do a full Stephen Colbert thing where they're fake conspiracy theorists and fake, I don't even say conspiracy theorists, fake truthers, fake investigators, fake journalists. It's fake journalism, because we're not the conspiracy theorists if a lot of what we figure out is verified through fact, and a lot of the speculation has tons of research. So, I mean, combine those and ask yourself who is really false and who is true. So, back to what this is saying, though. They even make fun of people who study Q, and they talk about, we'll get into it. I'll show you guys some screenshots of and I'll go through what they kind of talk about. Not going to recommend anybody watch it so they don't get the advertiser dollars, because honestly, it's just feeding the beast at that point. So they're coordinating attack to make it out that Q is dangerous, right? And by making Q dangerous, then he can be removed. It's like yelling bomb or fire in a movie theater. Right? They're going to use that president to say, the information on these boards is illegal and needs to be banned immediately. Do you see what they're doing? They're becoming the Orwellian dystopian state that we've been being warned about by people like Alex Jones for so long. If this is all true, if it all pans out, because I'm not making any affirmative statements about that, but I am saying if this all turns out to be true, then we can expect several different possible outcomes. And none of them look really that great for the people who have been screwing this country, the Luciferians, the pedophiles, the globalists, which In their report on their little Comedy Central funny haha channel, they forgot to mention all the Luciferianism, the pedophiles. They even changed the map that I saw. It must have been a different copy. And, you can't make this stuff up. They're not going to cover the evil, okay, because they are a part of it. And they're wanting to silence voices of opinion, people who investigate, okay? Q's saying this is predictable. They're scared. Now, they're going to go to their 4 a.m. talking points, okay? The newest and latest Austin bombing, you can look at it right here. There's 2 in one day, it looks like. This is awful. Thoughts and prayers to all the victims and all the people suffering there. But they're trying to use this incident against us somehow. It's going to come out, in my opinion, that whoever is behind this is obsessed with Q, is obsessed with stuff like that. And that's where the investigation's going. I mean, honestly, that's where it has to end, right? If this is what Q's giving us, because he wouldn't point to this otherwise. And if it doesn't, then the whole thing will tie into Q somehow, in my opinion. So, Q is saying they're scared, and they're going to go to their 4 a.m. talking points. Now, what is that? Well, the first time we hear 4 a.m. mentioned is when he's saying the mainstream media is fake news, propaganda, which is exactly what that show on Comedy Central was. Talking points, 4 a.m., private email addresses, paid contractors, judgment day Q. Now, that post is just laying it out for us that these people are paid contractors and they're a part of this cabal of fake news and propaganda. Probably associated, in my opinion, with possibly a Project Mockingbird of sorts. Now, if we take this and juxtapose it against what's coming out today, then we obviously see, and there's only 3 times that it's mentioned here, and this is one of them, we see that he's pointing to the contractors who are putting the stories out for the narrative, for the propaganda, and this was the beginning. March 20th was the beginning of the propaganda against Q, okay? And it's being debuted on a late night show that mimics Alex Jones, that mimics or mocks people who are conspiratorially minded and have a belief in saving this republic. I mean, that's what we're doing here, people. We're working together to spread the truth about these evil people who are in government who, let's just throw the evil stuff out for a second, okay? They are criminals who committed crimes. Most people, a kid takes a picture of a submarine, he ends up in jail, okay? And I'm not condoning that, but compared to selling the stockpiles of uranium to a Canadian company that's basically owned by a Russian entity, and then have all the backdoor dealings that they had, the hot mic where Obama's like, well, hey, let me get reelected and then we'll have more flexibility. But then turning it around to say they're the biggest enemy since Al-Qaeda in Russia. So, and I'm not saying Russia's our friend, okay? I'm just saying there is more to this than meets the eye. And the gloves are coming off tonight because this is the big move against Q. This is it. There's nothing bigger than what's going to be happening from here forward as far as Q goes in the mainstream media. So you guys keep your eyes peeled. You're going to start hearing this mentioned mainstream. And it's going to be all negative. It's going to be all derogatory. And it's going to be all about how this needs to be stopped. And they need to investigate it. Well, go ahead and investigate. I'd love to see the mainstream media put half of the Q posts on their channels. Now, with regard to this episode in the late night show, they chose 2 different Q posts and then kind of just made fun of them. They even try to lay out kind of the theory behind them, but they end up just making fun of them. They will fail because we know the details. Trust me. Okay, that's tomorrow, or we'll look forward to seeing how that all pans out. Now, moving into the next one, I hope that covered everything here. Moving into the next one. Now we have Q pointing to the fact that this is not just going to be a mainstream media thing in the sense of TV. It's going to be everyone, starting in social media. Mark Zuckerberg, right? What's going on with Mark Zuckerberg lately? Well, his stock is plummeting, and there have been calls for him to be removed as CEO, but he's holding on to that with a death grip that nobody else. I mean, this Jeff Sonnenfeld from Yale said, quote, an emperor for life. He said Mark Zuckerberg is, quote, an emperor for life and not accountable to anybody. So there you go. I mean, this is what's happening in our world today. These people are being exposed, and they're getting into some nefarious stuff. And what are the nefarious things? Well, it says Mark Zuckerberg, Rex Tillerson, big meeting, cell phones left at door, +8, 5 political, 1 former intelligence director, mask and spin, identifies friendly insiders. Mainstream media support plus talking points. Shift narrative. Fail. We hear you. We have the algorithm. Thank you, Ed Snowden. Learn chess. Down she goes. Nobody escapes this. Nobody. Okay, now, there's a lot to cover there, and we're going to start at the beginning. Mark Zuckerberg and Rex Tillerson. Now, we see here, this is what's happening with Mark Zuckerberg now. And then there's also, just recently, there's an article here from the 11th, about 10 days ago, and this is about as close to the mainstream as Q gets, and it's the National Review putting out an article saying there will be no civil war today, and how John Podesta is a great guy, and it's all just conspiracies about him and what's going on. So, yeah, don't look over here. I'm not even going to take the time to address it because there's so much more important stuff. Okay, so here's who I think the former intelligence director is, because we know it's Mark Zuckerberg, Rex Tillerson, 5 political figures that could be anyone. People that come to mind: Adam Schiff. I don't know. You guys fill me in on the comments, because it could be a lot of different people. But right now, at least Adam Schiff, maybe Nancy Pelosi, maybe Chuck Schumer, a few different people. And the former intelligence director is, in my opinion, James Clapper. And we have House Intel Committee Representative Jordan, so Jim Jordan of Ohio. This is his statement on James Clapper, and it just came out about 6 days ago. And he says, we learned 2 key things from the Republicans on the Intelligence Committee, their report. The first is they told us something we already know. Namely, there was no coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia to influence the election. The second thing they told us is something that we suspected. Now they've confirmed, which is that Clapper was actually was the guy leaking information. Specifically leaking information, I believe, from that January 6th meeting where they briefed President Trump, then President-elect Trump, on the dossier. Someone at CNN got information. We think it was Mr. Clapper who gave it to them, and then a few days later, BuzzFeed prints the entire dossier. So, those, in my mind, were the 2 key takeaways. No coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia. Mr. Clapper was leaking information. Here is one of the top intelligence people in the government at the time leaking information to the press. The real concern here is what the FBI did, what the top people did. Jordan concluded they took an opposition research document and dressed it all up, made it look like legit intelligence, and took it to the FISA court to get a warrant to spy on a fellow American citizen. And the guy who leaked the information about the dossier is James Clapper. So why would James Clapper be meeting with Rex Tillerson and Mark Zuckerberg? Because they're the henchmen for this cabal. They're the gatekeepers. They're the ones who have been in power and are working to basically subvert our democracy on a daily basis, in my opinion. Okay? So I know I'm a little charged here, but this is a time to get charged, okay? This is a time to comment. Let me know what you think. Give your thoughts. Give your opinions. Make this viral. Spread this stuff. Spread it like wildfire here. You know, we got we have the upper hand. They're panicking. They're panicking to the point where, as we look, they have to make fun of us, to try to discredit us now. Because first it was ignore. Because if you let a shred of this Q into the public domain on the mainstream platform, they could kiss their loyal followers goodbye. Because most people are rationally minded and can go and look at this stuff and hear analysis from different people and say, oh, well, that all makes sense. Wow, that's pretty bad. I really don't want that in my government. But they're counting on the people to just ignore it. Now, they're going to be unable to ignore, because I think charges are being brought, indictments are being unsealed. I mean, look at here. Let's give a great. Where in the world is all of the top leaders of the Democratic Party from the last 8 years before Donald Trump? Oh, look, Hillary Clinton's over in India using taxpayer dollars to do it on their dime. You have Barack Obama in Singapore yesterday, or 2 days ago now, with kids advocating for education. Okay, why is he out of the country now? You have Abedin, who's been a ghost on Twitter. She hasn't been posted anything to her social media since July 2016, where she put this Hillary Clinton ad about having a brunch with her friends in the Clinton administration, which is just weird in my opinion, but whatever. And John Podesta, who, this is so great. John Podesta tweets on March 7th, look from what looks like a prison cell TV. Like literally looks like he's in a prison cell watching an old TV. Is this for real? I mean, look, first of all, the point being that he's pointing out White House chaos, Cohn quits, market drop, porn star sues. But he looks like he's in jail already. Who has a TV like that in this day and age? I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who picks up on that. But that looks like the kind of TV they give you in a jail cell. I hear they have those in Guantanamo. So this, to me, if you look at it, there's going to be mask and spin. They left their cell phones outside because it's a big meeting to decide what the narrative going forward is, to identify who their friendly insiders are, and how they're going to get mainstream media support plus talking points to shut down the Q board and shut down what's coming, the indictments and the exposure of those who are guilty. They're going to shift the narrative, but they will fail because, guess what, guys? I know you think you're slick, but you're being listened to. I mean, you're being bugged. You probably know that. Or you probably don't. You probably think because you leave your cell phones outside that it's impossible or whatever. You got to understand, this goes way deeper. This is a battle against evil, and the good guys are working here. We have the algorithm. Well, obviously, thank you @Snowden. Now, what did Snowden just tweet? Let's look at that. Now, I'm starting to think more and more that Snowden's a white hat. Just to let you guys know, it's been kind of a coin toss with him at times. But he posted this very interesting article about Cambridge Analytica. Now, why is Cambridge Analytica important? Well, we'll read here in this article really quick. It's a quick read, and I'll give you guys a good idea of what's going on here. So it says, Strategic Communications Laboratories, best known for its work with its offshoot and collaborator Cambridge Analytica, appears to have an open contract with the State Department. Defense One first noted that the contract on a government contracts database where it is listed as still open. Why it matters. Cambridge Analytica has domestically come under fire for fraudulently slurping data off of Facebook through user quizzes, but the United States is among the most lenient countries in the world when it comes to data privacy. SCL received a $500,000 contract for quote-unquote target audience research to help the State Department counter ISIS propaganda. It's possible the group's data harvesting methods will be as unpopular abroad as they have been in the U.S. Backdrop. The deal is between SCL and State's Global Engagement Center. The center was set up by Obama administration in 2016 to fight ISIS's online presence, and the deal with SCL was signed in early 2017. Early 2017 means just before Donald Trump was elected. when the deal was inked, SCL and Cambridge Analytica had just helped orchestrate a massive upset in the 2016 presidential election. We were viewed as power players in data analytics. On Sunday, more than a year after State Department deal, the New York Times reported that SEL had harvested data from user quizzes and misled users about how that data would be used. Yeah, okay. I mean, this is all you need to know here, guys. But a State Department official confirmed that SEL works with the Global Engagement Center in connection with our mission to counter terrorist propaganda and disinformation overseas. The official stressed that the GEC is not doing business with Cambridge Analytica and that SCL is a major firm in analytics that has done work for several government agencies. So, what does that tell us about them? Well, here's a better article that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on in Cambridge Analytica. They've actually suspended, as official of today. Yeah, there you go. Officially today. Wow, I'm just looking at the timestamp on here, and it's in the future, unless I don't know where MIT is. Anyway, so they put this up. They've suspended him and his role in Donald Trump's campaign. You know, whatever. They're trying to act like this is the biggest technology breach since who knows what. But what it is really is that they took a bunch of email addresses and they put them into the hands of political actors who then could email people, which, you know, ultimately is pretty harmless in my opinion. They did steal the data. They aggregated it. I think that's what's so funny is that this has all been like skewed to be like, oh, Donald Trump went and Steve Bannon and they took email addresses and they found out and that's how they won because they got the email addresses and they knew the people. Well, no, maybe not. But what's a better question is why was the State Department, what's the real purpose of them signing the deal with Cambridge Analytica and are working with SCL in order to aggregate data from online users, and what were the false pretenses under which these quizzes, quote unquote, were given? Now, that's why I never fill out those things on Facebook and all that when I get a quiz or whatever that, because you got to understand, the big business is taking your data, selling it to advertisers and others who need it to sell you things. That's the whole scam of it all. Now we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes here. It says, learn chess, down she goes, nobody escapes this, nobody Q. Well, there you go. I read that as this. Hillary Clinton's number is up. I mean, we have a high expectation for prosecuting her. And Trump established that in his campaign. And I think the only way to really boost his run for a 2020 term is to actually go for the jugular now, metaphorically speaking. As in, attempt to indict a former head of the State Department. Yeah, it's going to be a long, arduous road, and there's lawyers and there's billions of dollars involved, if not trillions, and we're definitely. Everybody thinks, yeah, the Republicans, they have all the money, and Trump, and he's a billionaire. We're going up against trillionaires, okay, who fund this, i.e. Soroses and Rothschilds and the like of them. So, and they're Luciferian pedophile globalist elitists, okay? And they exist in a bubble, and they think that their bubble is going to carry them into their enlightenment or whatever. They're gonna transcend us, I guess you would say. So if that's true, then they're living in La La Land. This is the real deal. We're gonna put pen to paper here, and we're gonna put some indictments on the table. I think in the coming weeks. That's what I think this is a counter to. They know it's coming and they're panicking. So this goes to the next one. Q's remarking on his own post. He gives a little picture of his old post. Panic mode, enjoy the show, Q. And when you click this here, it's Comedy Central. And what are they saying? But it says, enjoy the show. Expect a lot more. Panic Q. Now, you guys can go check this out if you want or not. I'm not worried about it, but we're going to examine this here right now. And what is this all about? Okay, so this is some dude. I didn't even take the time to research these people because I know what they do. I know their type. You have this guy with the other guy. You guys can hold on. I'll look up their name just because I don't want to be irresponsible. So here it is. It's this guy, the opposition with Jordan Klepper, and he has this guy Kobe Libby, who does this investigation. And what is the investigation of? In order to avoid the obvious, what would happen if I even put a second of Comedy Central's stuff on my channel, it will instantly get flagged, probably for copyright, and they may even pull the video. So instead of risking that, I'm just going to go through these screenshots, and I'll leave a link to the video. I'll leave the same exact link that Q has in my comments. So not that I'm supporting that, giving them the advertiser dollars, but if you want to watch it, it's the first time in mainstream media that we have Q mentioned, and we have him being derided as a mere a fantasy and a LARPing and a whatever, a fake, and also being called dangerous. And we're going to get into that. First, this guy is given this satirical report where he's saying, now QAnon is this, and he takes this one post, and this is a post from a little while ago. Let's see, February 13th, right? And it says, think image drop, think OP, think United. When does a songbird sing? And then he goes in to break it down. Think image drop. We're talking about the Obama picture. And then he's like, when does a bird sing? When it's in a cage, right? Then he was talking about how, United makes flights to Cuba. So is the president going to get on a flight and go to Cuba and run away? No, he actually got on a flight and went to Singapore. Yeah. So that's the truth of it. And then it goes on, it brings this guy named Kurt Anderson in, who's an author that made this book Fantasyland, which is a snoozer, I'm sure. But what he talks about here is how dangerous Q is. And this is really dangerous to free speech. This is what I hate about these people. I mean, and it's just that they're so evil. And they're either evil or brainwashed. It's one or the other. And they're to this point where they think it's really dangerous if 1 million people or millions of people believe the Q, because Q is giving them information that is obviously wrong. Well, what research do you present in this little satirical thing? It's propaganda. It's indoctrination. It's to close your eyes. It's to keep you all sheep. You need to spread this. Spread this video like wildfire. It's really just disinformation that they do. Not even worth really going over everything. But if you guys want to watch it, I'll put the link, because I'm sure a lot of you are going to want to watch it for yourself. If you guys want to know, it's right around here in the second section of the show. But you have like 20 minutes of commercials you have to watch, which is great. So that's definitely it. Now, this all ties in, okay? This is not to be taken lightly. The fact that they're mentioning Q in the mainstream media and they're putting this together, it's a propaganda campaign. It's an anti-Q indoctrination campaign. And then Q also pointing out that the FBI now is investigating Q. If they can combine these things, which is what he's talking about with this Zuckerberg-Tillerson meeting with possibly James Clapper, and 5 of the political elites, is that he's telling us, look, they're putting this together behind the scenes, okay? They have put targets on the back of all the Qs, and they are literally going to shut this down or attempt to. But good luck. That's what I say to them. And that's pretty much it. So if any more posts get up, I'll try to get them out tonight. If not, then we will look for it tomorrow. Check the news tomorrow, because I have a feeling you're going to start hearing a lot more about Q in the mainstream. and I'm gonna put money on the fact that most of it's gonna be very negative and very dismissing. So you guys spread this stuff. I mean, that's all I can really say. Spread the channel, spread the links, do whatever you can to get this out, because I'm doing my part. And again, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. If you're looking for a way to contribute to the channel, you can come here to the landing page and click the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. I want to take a quick second and say thank you for everyone. I had a video I posted about 2 days ago, or a day ago, and it was this one right here about Alex Jones. And a lot of people just tore me up in the comments with these just crazy rants about, how they hate me and they're unsubscribing. And so I went and addressed it in the next video, and I said, look, most of you didn't watch this video, and if you had watched the video, you'd know that what you're accusing me of, I did not do, right? So then I made this next video where I kind of addressed the issue, and lo and behold, it was the nicest thing ever. I had about 1,000 comments on not many views, which is really impressive, and I'd say about 90% of them were people just supporting the channel and saying how great of a job that I'm doing, and wishing me well and telling me to stay up with it and keep going. And it was so impressive that it certainly has pushed me to only resolve myself to do more. And yeah, I think that's awesome. So thank you to each and every one of you. I wish I could thank you all, but that would take a long time, because there's like a few hundred, if 500 or more comments that are just incredible from people who watch the show and support what I do, and are just really great people. So as I say at the end of all these episodes, the second best way you can contribute is go down and comment and read through the commenters. These people are insightful. They're great. They study this. They all have their own unique way of contributing. And it's just a pleasure to be able to share the information with so many great people. And, there's going to be haters, there's going to be trolls, there's going to be bots. I can't take time addressing that. I need to stay focused on the information and focused on spreading the word of God. So that's my priorities. First and foremost is spreading the word of God. So if you're looking for another way to support the channel, and I surely appreciate it, why don't you come check out my Twitter? I'm trying to get it going. I got 860 followers, which is all right. Never been a big Twitter guy, but I'm getting into it more lately. So if you guys want to come check that out, that'd be great. It's at Justin_formed on Twitter. If you guys want to tweet me or let me know what's going on, or say hey, that'd be awesome. Now, the coolest way for you guys to contribute, and I appreciate it the most, is to come here to patreon.com/JustinFormTalk, or you can search JustinFormTalk in the search bar here at patreon.com. When you do that, you'll come to this landing page, and you can go ahead and become a patron by clicking the red button. And come check out my rewards and goal. We're almost at my goal. When I get 100 patrons, I will make a video where I mention each and every one of you by name, and I'll thank you all for your awesome contributions. Again, I've been putting this out there. If any of you have contributed and you do not want your name mentioned, you are going to need to email me. And I'm going to probably end up doing just first names, because I don't want to put anyone on blast who doesn't want that. But yeah, that's going to be it. And I have my featured Patreon patrons. Don't think I've forgotten about you guys. You guys will be coming up at the end of the month, and we will go through and mention each and every one of you. So thank you for that. Now, going back to this, I want to take a second and talk about the most important thing, the reason I do all this, what centers my life, and what I want to share with you all, and that is God, and how His grace is greater. God's grace is so important here. God's grace allows for us to be wrong and redeem ourselves. God's grace allows for us to sin and be forgiven. As long as we're not, purposely abusing it, God will understand. And people said a lot of mean things to me. I've even had threats, but it's irrelevant. The fact is that the truth will speak for itself, and God is the truth. So I want you all to take this away. spreading this information and sharing it, if you do it the correct way, God will be there to protect you. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be right or 100% of the time, or everyone will love you, and it'll just be a utopian event. But if you know in your heart that you're doing what you think's right, and you're doing it because there's a greater power behind you saying, this is the way of the Lord. And if you embrace that fully, then, as I always say, there's something to be said about how you will become a light. And then we're all talking about here the light shining onto the darkness, and the darkness is the evil. So having the light shine into the dark is what you want. And when you bring God's light into your heart, you become another beacon, another bulb, another ember that will continue to provide that light to those who cannot see, those who watch these Comedy Central shows and think they're hilarious, and think that stuff like that is really what's important in life, but blindly following without doing any research or in-depth look. And when people do that, they lose the most important thing in life, and that is a strong connection to God. Because they replace God with entertainment. They replace God with all these things that come first, and then they throw him off to the wayside, and then they eventually become, they become unable to accept the fact that God is there for them. God loves them. Jesus died on the cross for your sins, and you are eternally saved as long as you embrace the Lord. They become dismissive of that fact. And when they become dismissive of that fact, there's always chance for redemption. That's why the most important part of this channel is these end talks here, where we just take a little slice of what God wants us to take away. And I'm not speaking for God because I can't purport to do that, but that's what, in my opinion, God wants us all to do, is to share our light with others and to turn ourselves over to him. So if you don't take anything else away from this channel, I really, really hope you take that away. And I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Make sure, if you haven't yet, come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified as soon as these videos get posted, because as soon as I get the information, I make it available to you. I want to thank you all again for subscribing and joining us here. But that's going to be it for tonight. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. God bless and Godspeed, Patriots.